Congratulations, Next-Gen, you just saved Dover. Yo, what is up everyone, my name is Jet. Welcome back to another episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop on a Monday afternoon, this time after rain postponed the race on Sunday. We came back to finish the race for the 11th race of the Cup Series season in 2022 at Dover, and it was the best Dover race in a long time. Let's not waste any time and jump into what happened here today. Stage 1 took around 18 hours to finish, so it began with Chris Busch, the pole sitter, starting out in front. He led the first 19 laps until the outside pole sitter and Denny Hamlin would pass him for the lead, and he'll go on to lead the next 55. And then the rain came on lap 69 with Kyle Larson the leader after pit stops, and the race was postponed till today at noon. That's all that happened. But the rest of stage 1, pretty uneventful to say the least. Chase Elliott on the next restart was able to take the lead away from Kyle Larson, but then Denny Hamlin, who started around the lower half of the top 10, drove his way up through the field, chased down Larson to pass him for second, and would end up taking the lead from Chase Elliott with around, I believe, just a few handful of laps to go, and would go on to win stage 1. Elliott would finish second, Bell third. You see Larson, he fell back to 6th place. Chastain, who had the fastest car near the end of stage 1, in 4th, Truex in 5th, Byron in 7th, Buescher 8th, Kyle Busch 9th, then Brad Keselowski in the top 10. I think that's the first time he has earned stage points outside of the super speedway, so it was a good start for the 6th team. And then coming off the race off pit road, you see a wheel out on the racetrack that came from the leader, Denny Hamlin. Hamlin actually won the race off of pit road on 3 tires, so because of that he had to come back onto pit road, start at the tail end of the field to, get a new tire on. Not only that, but it will be now a 4-race suspension for his crew chief, as well as the jackman and tire changer. Stage 2 was more eventful, and we would start to see the beginning of tire strategy take place. Now, Hamlin, who restarted 29th because of that wheel falling off, that will give the lead to last week's winner at Talladega, Ross Chastain. We would then see a trio of cautions, some with contact, others with tires. The first one was with another JGR driver and Christopher Bell also suffering some tire issues, reported to have, I believe it was a right rear or right front loose wheel. Right off the bat in the stage, he had to come onto pit road. Then on lap 37, Kyle Larson loses it off of turn 4 and spins to the inside wall, just tapping it, blowing both right side tires. So that was just him getting loose, had nothing to do with tires. But with 62 to go, another Toyota driver in Kurt Busch had some contact, got tight in the middle of 1 and 2. AJ Allmendinger was there, gets into the back end of him, sends him up the track, and Kurt Busch spins, backs it into the wall before sliding down to hit the inside wall with the right front of his car. Just not a good day for Toyota, really. Now, after that, we would see 2 tire strategies take place throughout the remainder of the stage. Numerous drivers stayed out on lap 160. Those drivers like Justin Haley, Alex Bowman, Allmendinger, Wallace, just some of the few, those were the ones that stayed out. Other drivers that pitted on lap 190, like Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain, they pitted on lap 190 to try and get an advantage on those drivers with older tires. And they did. 4 fresh tires proved to be the ones that would prevail, at least for this stage. Because not only were the drivers with 4 fresh tires faster, but some of the drivers with much older tires started to wear. Not only to wear, but they started to lose their tire near the end of the stage. First, it was Tyler Reddick, who his right front tire started to tread and started to treading more and more. So he had to come onto pit road. And then 1 lap later, Ty Dillon, same thing. Right front started to tread more, and he had to come on a pit road. But then with 10 laps to go in the stage, Denny Hamlin, who started at the back, then was moving his way up towards the front, was inside the top 15. He gets collected in someone else's mess. Cody Ware either loses it or loses a tire off of turn 4, spins right in front of Denny Hamlin. Cody Ware, not using his senses obviously, decides to I don't know if he didn't hold the brake or what, but just decides to come back down onto the racetrack right in front of Denny Hamlin, ripping off the right side of Hamlin's car, causing his day to go from bad to worse. I don't know if Ware held on to the brakes, if he didn't. But anyways, we had a 2-lap shootout. Ryan Blaney and Harrison Burton, they stayed out on the racetrack to try and bank on getting some stage points. Kyle Busch automatically goes to the outside in turns 1 and 2 to get by Harrison Burton, but he wasn't able to get by Ryan Blaney. Blaney was able to hold his ground. Actually, Kyle Busch and Blaney got loose coming off of turn number 4, and Blaney will go on to win the stage. Busch in second, Alex Bowman third, 4th is Truex Jr., 5th was Stenhouse, 6th Chastain, 7th Jones, 8th is Harrison Burton, 9th Chris Buescher, and Chase Elliott rounds out the top 10. So when stage 3 began, not much happened in terms of, on-track action or moments, but it was just solid, really good racing, to be honest with you. With Blaney and Burton pitting, that gives the lead over to the 18 and to the 48. They were 1 and 2 the entire way, but Bowman, I should say, was keeping in touch with Kyle Busch. He wasn't able to really challenge, but he maintained about a 4 to 5 car length gap between the two as they were navigating through lap traffic. Then, with 80 laps to go, the final round of pit stops began. Kyle Busch and Bowman, neck and neck, or at least nose to tail, came onto pit road to do their final routine pit stop of the race. And that is when the caution came out with AJ Allmendinger. He lost a tire on the back straightaway. That brought out a caution. What was interesting about this, it was kind of confusing because Bowman and Busch, they were on pit road. Truex was on the back stretch. So I didn't understand at first because it seemed as though the NASCAR was going to score them 17th and 18th 1 lap down. That wasn't the case. They got the wave around apparently, and they were positioned 16th and 17th. Bit of confusion with how that whole thing went because I was under the assumption that since the caution came out when they were on pit road and pit stops was still going on, it just started. I was under the impression that Busch and Bowman was going to come out 1 and 2, but they scored them 16th and 17th. I still don't know why. Maybe someone in the comments can explain it to me, but I was looking to understand why they were positioned to the tail end of the lead lap, but I don't know. But as a result of that basically took both Busch and Bowman out of contention like that, which is unfortunate because Kyle Busch led the most laps of the race, with I think 109 laps. And then also took Bowman out of having a shot at going back-to-back. They would still end up finishing in the top 10, but after that whole pit road issue, they were no longer race-winning contenders. So now that puts Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain out in front. And I wish I had this recorded, but there was some awesome racing between those two drivers of Chastain and Elliott. They were neck and neck, side by side, just an inch or two off from each other, and it really showed how much better of a race car, aero-wise, the next-gen car is over the Gen 6 car. With the Gen 6 car, if you are able to pinch your driver on the inside, they would get loose, you go by on the outside and take the lead. This time it wasn't the case. Chase Elliott was on the bottom and Chastain was pinching him as hard as he could, and Chase held his ground. There wasn't none of that aero loose or that side force that played a factor into it. It was just hard racing, and it was so fun to watch. But clean air is still king. On the final restart, because there were a couple cautions that happened in that final stage, on the final restart, Chase Elliott on the inside lane is able to get by ahead of Ross Chastain off of turn 2, and that was basically it. Clean air is still king. Once Chase got out in front, built up his gap, no one could challenge him. Stenhouse did put up a strong effort, at least for second place. He was able to get by Ross Chastain. Stenhouse had a really strong car inside the top 10 for virtually almost the entire race. And there were also an awesome battle between Truex Jr. and Ross Chastain that ended up with Chastain sliding up in front of Truex Jr. on the final lap. Truex gets loose and spins it. He would end up finishing outside the top 10 as a result of that crash, while Chase Elliott goes on to win for his 14th career NASCAR Cup Series win, his first oval win since Phoenix of 2020 in November when he won the championship and led 73 laps, and becomes the 4th and final Hendrick driver to win in 11 races. Still, different year, different car, same story. Hendrick Motorsports still the team to beat. There's a look at the race results. Your winner, Chase Elliott, second place, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and a really great run for that 47 team. Ross Chastain in third, Christopher Bell fourth, and Alex Bowman rebounds to a top 5 finish. Kyle Larson, even after the day he had, surprisingly, he was able to rebound back to a 6th place finish. Very strong result for that 5 team. Kyle Busch, 7th place, fortunate for him when he had a shot at winning this race. Chris Buescher, the pole sitter, finishes in 8th, very solid run for him. Kevin Harvick 9th, and Eric Jones rounds up the top 10. How about Justin Haley, 11th place, his best finish, I believe, outside of his win at Daytona in July a couple years ago, but really solid run for that colleague racing car. His teammate AJ Allmendinger wasn't so fortunate. Truex Jr. finishes in 12th. Briscoe 13th. Daniel Suarez finished in 14th. He was involved in a crash near the end of the race after contact with Corey LaJoie. and Cole Custer rounds out the top 15. Bubba Wallace finally finishes the race in 16th place. Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie, Eric Almirola, and Brad Keselowski the top 20. Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin just had a rough day in 21st. William Byron, 22nd. I don't know what happened with him, but very, very bad day for that number 24 team. Austin Dillon, Harrison Burton, and Ryan Preece, the top 25. Ryan Preece had a solid run going into the top 20 when he unfortunately had a cylinder go down. Ryan Blaney, he won stage 2, but then he just fell off. He pitted after stage 2, but he was just nowhere to be found. In fact, all of Team Penske sucked today, to be honest with you. Todd Gilliland, Joe Logano, and Tyler Reddick, top 30. Tyler Reddick also just having a bad day even later on in the race after his right front tire started to go away. He spun off for turn number 2 late in the race. Kurt Busch in 31st, Josh Bilicki, AJ Allmendinger, Cody Ware, BJ McLeod, and Austin Cindric finishes in last. Now time for the playoff grid. After Dover, now 9 drivers are colored in green. William Byron, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott now jumps up to 3rd in the playoff grid. Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, and Austin Cindric. But Chase Elliott, he is the points leader, so if the playoffs ended today, he would have the most playoff points at his disposal. Ryan Blaney, 109-point gap in 10th place. Mark Truex Jr. plus 77. They're the only 2 drivers that at least have a 1 race buffer. Joe Logano, Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, and Eric Jones in the danger zone. They hold the final 4 spots, or 5 spots, I should say. Austin Dillon, the first one out, -3. Tyler Reddick, -13. Daniel Suarez, -21. And Chris Buescher, -32. With 15 races left in the regular season. So, my thoughts on this race. The Next-Gen saved Dover, in my opinion. First of all, I feel so bad for the crowd for yesterday. That was the most packed crowd I've ever seen at Dover in a long time, in years. It was amazing to see a crowd that packed at Dover. Even on Monday, the crowd was pretty solid. The same amount of people looked like from Xfinity on Saturday, which for a Monday race is really, really good to have virtually the same crowd as Saturday. But the racing, so much better. Still, dirty air still played a factor, which it happens. You know, it's never going to go away. You're still going to have clean air be a factor. So clean air was still pretty dominant. Not as dominant as in years past with that, high downforce package, but still it played a factor. Once you got out in front, you were basically almost God. But yeah, very, very solid racing, or great racing throughout the entire field, throughout the entire race. I mean, you had battles up front, in the middle, in the back. Really, really fun racing to watch. Tire management was also really interesting to see from a strategic side. Drivers going on different strategies. Some, staying out, trying to bank on, saving their tires for the end of the race. Others, pitting every single time a caution comes out. We have some pretty longish green flag runs, which again sets up for very interesting tire strategies, how you conserve your tires, how hard you push late into a green flag run. I would honestly, this was the best Dover race in years. I can't say exactly what year, but maybe 2016, maybe? I don't know. It's been a long time since Dover has had a good race, and this was a really, really good race. I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. This was a very solid race. I really loved it. Obviously, it has its flaws, again, like I said, with clean air, but overall, I thought it was great, the racing was. I mean, Team Penske, they were just trash. They sucked. I mean, Blaney had his moment near the end of stage 2, but outside of that, it was just nothing to be heard from. 2311 Racing and Toyota. Hamlin actually had a strong run until, that wheel came off and they got caught up in Cody Ware's mess. 2311 Racing, I mean, they were meh. They were in the top 20, which... And Bubba finally finished a race without something bad happening. He finished 16th, but still something. He finished a race. Man, that team's got that whole organization has got some stuff to work on. Truex Jr. strong. Really, this was the first time we saw at least 3 Toyota drivers show speed in the 11, the 18, and the 19. Usually, it's just Kyle Busch and Truex. Now Hamlin finally got a good run, but now he's going to lose his crew chief for the next 4 races. So it's like 1 step forward, 5 steps back. But yeah, I don't know really what else to say about this race. I just wish that you know, the race was able to get in on schedule yesterday, because with that packed of a crowd, they would have loved this race. I felt like this was a very awesome show. And Dover, I think this race saved Dover possibly, and it should be back on the schedule next year, but not as 2 races. There were some people that were suggesting that comes back for 2 races. No, 1 race is enough. You know, when we start to see really great racing, and you know, if you know we can sell out races in the future, then you can maybe think about the possibility of going to 2 races. But for now, 1 race is enough. But I really enjoyed it. So congratulations to Chase Elliott. I give this race again an 8.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed this one. And I'm looking forward to Darlington now, throwback weekend. And I'm very interested into seeing how this next-gen car, so far this next-gen car has exceeded tremendously on all but 1 track, and that's Martinsville. It's done well on dirt. It's done well on super speedways, on 1.5 miles. Phoenix was meh, but so far Richmond was more of a strategic race, but still fun race to watch. It has checked off almost all the boxes. Now I'm very interested in seeing how Darlington can do, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you like this race? Did you not? And yeah, congratulations to Chase Elliott, your winner at Dover. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jett. We'll see you next time.